Am I the whole for refusing to start traditions with my step and half siblings? I, 16M, split my time evenly between my divorced parents, 7 days at my dad's, then 7 days at my mom's. At my dad's house, it's just him, me, and my paternal grandparents. At my mom's house, it's her husband, who's been in the picture since I was 7, his son, my stepbrother, 6 years younger than me, and then my two half-siblings who are now 9 and 11 years younger than me. And right off the bat, I'll admit this. I don't like my mom's husband. That's why I always call him that instead of stepdad. There's history there, and it's not just some petty, you're not my real dad thing. When my dad and my mom's husband first crossed paths, it was at work, before my mom even met him. Apparently, they were rivals. My mom's husband sabotaged a project my dad was working on. Dad reported him, plus some other shady stuff he knew about, and it ended with my mom's husband losing his job. From that day, he had it out for my dad. So when my mom eventually started dating him, and he realized my dad was the dad, it just made him extra petty. He used to make little digs at me, saying stuff like, "You know your dad's a snake, right? Must be hard having a snitch for a father." Then he'd turn around and act like he was the better role model, telling me he could teach me the ways of the world better than my dad ever could. He'd pull these stunts in public too, like after my school plays, he'd try to make me go to him instead of my dad for praise. But I never did, and it got under his skin. The more I stayed loyal to my dad, the nastier his comments got. So yeah, I never liked him. And because of that, I never warmed up to the family he came with either. My mom basically raised a son, so she sees him as her child now, but to me he's just her husband's kid. And when my mom and her husband had 2 more kids together, I didn't feel any different. I don't hate them. I'm polite. I'll play a game or watch a show if they ask. But I don't feel some magical sibling bond. And I don't feel guilty about that either. My mom, though, has always been determined to make us bond. She tried setting up little traditions for us, like board game nights, annual sibling photos, bake cookies together day. I participated because I didn't want to cause a fight, but it never meant much to me. They weren't traditions to me, they were just forced activities. Now, compare that with my dad's house. That's where I feel like I really belong. We have tons of little traditions that formed naturally over the years. On birthdays, the 3 not celebrating cook and bake for the one whose birthday it is, 3 favorite meals, and a mountain of desserts. Every Friday, we do cartoon movie night no matter what. Every Sunday, I meal prep with my grandma. We label everything with her little label maker, talk about life, and cook for hours. My grandpa and I have been fixing up the old shed together, turning it into something useful again. We tackle DIY projects. We garden, we build. These things just grew out of us being together, not because someone forced them. And I love it. That's why I never talk about them at my mom's house. If her husband caught wind of it, he'd mock me or belittle my dad. And if my mom heard, I worried she'd try to copy the exact same traditions at her house with my step and half siblings, which would ruin them for me. But then a few months ago, my dad and I entered a local cooking contest, and we actually won. Mom saw the pictures and videos online and started asking questions. When did you learn to cook like that? Why would you and your dad enter a contest together? She looked hurt, like she couldn't believe I'd never mentioned it. Then she asked the question I was dreading. Why don't you bring those kinds of traditions here? Why don't you share that with your siblings? She pressed harder and eventually said, if you don't like the things I've tried to start, then create your own. It doesn't have to involve her husband. It can just be you and them. Teach them to bake, or cook, or something small. Make your own traditions. I didn't. A month went by, and she brought it up again. This time I told her straight. I didn't want to start any traditions with them. She got upset and said I wasn't making any effort. She told me, it wouldn't take much. Just a few hours a month. That's all I'm asking. Family traditions are important. I didn't budge. Before I left her house last week, she finally broke down and told me, I don't know what to do about you anymore. You never treat your stepbrother or your siblings like family. It's like you don't even want them in your life. I didn't know what to say. Because the truth is, I don't feel like I want that kind of bond with them. I'm fine being polite. I don't wish them harm. But I'm not going to force traditions just to make her feel better about the picture-perfect family she wants us to be. So, am I the whole for refusing to start traditions with my step and half siblings, even though my mom clearly feels hurt by it?